Let's cover the bases with our MLB panel consisting of DraftKings contributors Garion Thorne, Stan Son, and RotoWire's Erik Halterman. Pretty simple stuff here, dudes. Give me your favorite play in the following categories. First category, first base. Your top DFS hitter tonight, Gare Bear. You are batting leadoff.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Alex Kirilloff of the Minnesota Twins. It's a little hard to imagine what the Twins lineup might look like tonight against the Orioles and Dean Kremer. They've got just so many nagging day-to-day injuries that, like, we don't know if Nelson Cruz is going to be in there. We don't know if Max Kepler is going to be in there. Jorge Polanco is also a question mark. But I do think when everything shakes out, it would be shocking to not see Kirilloff hitting in a high-leverage spot in this lineup, especially considering how much Kremer has struggled this season against left-handed bats. He's giving up 3.21 home runs per nine to lefties. So if Kirilloff's in there hitting like third or fourth or even fifth at just $4,000, he's got positional eligibility at both first base and outfield, so that really helps. And he's also got a 453 expected WOBA so far this season. So he's really been crushing the ball since he's been up at the major league level.
Stan, who's your top DFS hitter tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I usually like to punt at catcher, but I'm going to go with one today. Buster Posey, 4.5K at Arizona. He bats second in the lineup for a Giants team that's 11th in runs scored. They're also 7th in ISO against right-handed pitching. Posey, he has 9 home runs with a 290 ISO on the season. Slash is 355, 436, 45. Now, he gets to face off against Corbin Martin in the Arizona bullpen. Martin, in 24.1 innings of MLB experience, split over 2 seasons. He has reverse splits, as the FIP is 12.47 against righties. The K per 9 is much lower, and 8 of his 10 home runs have been to right-handed bats. So, once he's out of the game, then when they get to the Arizona pen, they have the 5th highest FIP and the 7th highest 8 home runs per 9.
Okay, that leaves you, Mr. Erik. Talk to me.
Yeah, out of all of the players on this large slate, I think Garion and I ended up on the same guy. Alex Kirilloff is my top guy as well. He's not going to settle in as a $4,000 player if the scouts are at all right about him. Top 20, according to both Fangraphs, MLB Pipeline. I'm sure basically everywhere else didn't go bother checking every scout in the world, but consensus top prospect supposed to hit for power and contact, and he's actually maybe already doing that, even though his line doesn't show it. He's only hitting 237, but his expected batting average in his 16-game sample is 346. 20.5% barrel rate and a 56.8% hard hit rate. If he had enough batted ball events to qualify, those would rank 3rd and 4th in the entire league. So this is a guy who's already crushing the ball, and he's got an easy matchup and a great park too in Baltimore. So I think easily would be happy with him if he was, several $100s more expensive today.
All right, guys, we continue to cover the bases here. Second base, DFS pitcher. Who is your dude this evening, Stan?
To me, it's Clayton Kershaw. I don't understand the price. He's at 8,000. He's been at over 10K every game this season except for the opening day. He was 9.5. Last season, the lowest price was 9,000. I mean, I know Houston, they're a good offense, but this price is a little crazy to me. The Astros, they are 30th in strikeouts against left-handed pitching, but only 17th in ISO. Kershaw has a 2.64 FIP, 17% swinging strike rate on the season. He's only allowed 5 home runs in 56.2 innings. Outside of that one inning debacle against the Cubs, where he scored negative 5.4 DK fantasy points, he's gone over 20 DK fantasy points in every other game, with 2 of those over 30.
Okay, Gare Bear, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, this is a really weird slate for pitching, as Stan kind of mentioned. You look at a couple guys and you're like, I don't understand why they're priced this low. Kershaw is definitely one of those guys. Corbin Burns is 9,100, and that makes no sense considering who he is. But I'm drawn in by a much cheaper pitcher, and that's Kevin Gausman, who is just $7,200, despite the fact that he might have been the best pitcher in baseball the past month. If you really just look at the statistics, his last 6 starts, he's got a 0.90 ERA. His FIP is just over 2 at 2.03. And it's not like he's just been a run suppression guy. He's also striking out 32% of the opponents he's faced in that span of time. He's using his split finger fastball more than he ever has. It's up at like a 36% usage rate. So he's just been incredible. And I really can't wrap my head around how you can get him this inexpensive on a 13-game slate. It just doesn't make any sense to me, especially when you consider his opponent, Arizona. I mean, we talked about Corbin Martin earlier. It's a high win expectancy for Gausman in this game. And Arizona so far in May, they are getting healthier, but they've got just a 74 WRC plus as a team. It's the third worst mark in all of baseball. So I think Gausman checks every box on this slate. And I would probably be willing to pay for him if he was $9,000, let alone $7,200.
Erik, does your top DFS pitcher tonight also check all the boxes?
Yep. My top two are Gausman and Corbin Burns. And since we've already been over Gausman, I'll gush about Burns for a minute here. I don't know why he's only the fifth most expensive pitcher on the slate. He's second in points per game behind only Jacob deGrom, who has maybe some workload questions in his first start back from injury. Burns has a tough opponent and park here. He's facing the Padres at Miller Park, but he's transcended to the level that we don't care. He's usable every single time. He's already had 10 strikeouts in 6 shutout innings against these very same Padres. He's incredible this season. His ERA is 1.75, I think it is, and that's actually an underachievement if you look at some of the ERA estimators. FIP has him at 0.84, so he's actually giving up twice as many runs as he should be, and his ERA is still well below 2. I mean, we don't see things like this late into the season. If you look at minimum 40 innings, because he doesn't quite count as a qualified starter because he missed time due to COVID, his strikeout rate, 44.7%, nearly a coin flip. That's trails only deGrom of pitchers who threw at least 40 innings. His 1.3% walk rate. He's finally walked 2 batters after walking none in his first, 6-7 starts. That's the best in that sample as well. And he also gets ground balls too. He's doing everything. He's quite possibly the best pitcher in the league. And you can get him as only the 5th most expensive on this slate.
All right, to the hot corner we go. Garion, money line or run line bet you're chasing on this 13-game slate?
Yeah, this one's a bit of a coin flip for me, but I think the fact that St. Louis is plus 123 on the money line up against Chicago, I would say in a vacuum, the White Sox are a better team. They're at home. In general, I understand why the Cardinals are underdogs in this spot. However, for as good as Lucas Giolito has been so far this season, I think you could make the case that Jack Flaherty has been better. And while all good things must come to an end at some point, so far this season, St. Louis is 9-0 in games started by Jack Flaherty. They've yet to lose. So I'm just going to keep chasing this. I'm going to take the plus 123 in the money line, and I'm going to trust Jack Flaherty. It's not a spot where I'm like, oh my God, I'd be so shocked if the Cardinals lost this game. But again, they have not lost yet this season with Flaherty on the mound.
Erik, which money line or run line bet stands out to you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cleveland over Detroit. It was at minus 139 last I pulled it up. And that's because I just don't have any faith in Tarek Skubal for the Tigers. He was a guy I liked as a prospect. He had crazily high strikeout rates, like regularly in the high 30s in the minors or even higher. But none of that has translated so far through parts of 2 seasons at the big leagues. Just a strikeout rate of 23.1% this year, and it was lower than that before a couple decent outings recently. So he combines, a slightly below average strikeout rate with an 11% walk rate. That's well above league average, and most worryingly, a 25.2% ground ball rate. Just giving up way too much contact in the air. That's the lowest among pitchers who've thrown at least 35 innings this season. On the other side, Aaron Sivali is not at all exciting. ERA of 3.30 isn't quite backed up by the estimators. He's a low strikeout guy with good control and good grounders, but that should be enough to not give up many runs against a pretty poor Tigers team. And Skubal, I'm going to need to see a lot more good starts before I think he can win many games.
All right, Stan, you're up.
All right, I like Oakland minus 1.5 at plus 120. Cole Irvin, he doesn't throw hard. The average is 90 miles per hour on the fastball. Swinging strike rate is only 9.5%. That said, he does have good control. He doesn't walk that many batters. His overall numbers or season-long numbers are inflated because of 3 games against Houston. He allowed 5, 4, and 4 earned runs in those 3 games. In the other games, he allowed a total of 8 earned runs in 6 games. So, he has 4 games with 6, 6, 8, and 9 strikeouts. Seattle, they're 4th in strikeouts against left-handed pitching. On the other side, Seattle's got Logan Gilbert on the mound. He's got a 5.85 FIP. He's allowed 2 home runs in 6.2 innings. Oakland bats, I mean, they could get busy here. They're 4th in ISO against right-handed pitching.
Stan, we are rounding third. We are heading home, and I need a game total from you that you like tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to stay here. The Seattle-Oakland game, under 8.5, minus 120. I do like Irvin to shut down the Seattle offense. And, while I think that the Athletics will score some runs, I don't see them going nuclear here. Both teams, they have really good bullpens. The FIP is 3.9 for Seattle, 3.77 for Oakland. The home runs per 9 are 0.91 and 0.79 respectively. So, I like the Athletics to win here, but I like the total under 8.5.
What's your game total, Garion?
I'm going to go to Kansas City against Tampa Bay. The number right now is 8. It is minus 118 for the over on the DKSB. I wouldn't be shocked if this maybe moves to 8.5 before we get first pitch, but this is mainly about the Rays and Brad Keller. Tampa Bay has won 11 straight games, and in that span of time, they alone are averaging 8.6 runs per game. They're just an offensive juggernaut right now, and Brad Keller comes into this start with a 7.28 expected ERA. So I really don't think he's going to shut down this Rays lineup, and 8 of the last 9 Tampa Bay games have gone over the number. So all the trends are pointing in the direction of the over in this spot. And then you've got Rich Hill going up against a Kansas City lineup that I always prefer going up against a left-handed pitcher as opposed to a right-handed pitcher. And even though Rich Hill's been very good recently, we know that Rich Hill can sort of be a different version of himself on any given night. So would I be shocked if Kansas City strung together 3 or 4 runs against Rich Hill? No, I wouldn't. And I think the Rays have a legitimate shot at scoring 7 or 8 runs in this game. So I think we get well over this number.
Okay, Erik, what game total do you like?
I'm going with the under in the Giants Diamondbacks game. It's set at 9, and I just don't know how you can set it at 9 in the game that has Kevin Gausman in it. We already talked about Gausman earlier. He's just a true ace now, I think. I think he's done it long enough that we can say that. 1 or fewer run allowed in 8 of his 9 starts this season. 1.66 ERA. It's a little bit better than the estimators have it, but he's got the full package. Strikeout rate just shy of 30%. He got it actually over 30% last year. So it's very sustainable for him to stay at that level. Low walk rate too. On the other side, Corbin Martin is not at all proven, but he's not, some terrible pitcher that I think the Giants are going to get 9 all by themselves against. He's only had 1 start since returning from Tommy John surgery, so not a lot to analyze there. But before the surgery, he was a decent prospect, 50 future value at most places, which means potential mid-rotation starter. Had a 3.13 ERA and a strikeout rate of 28.5% in AAA in 2019. So I think there's enough there that I don't think he's going to get blown up. And then I don't think Gausman's given up more than 1 because he never seems to.
All right, guys, we got some extra bases here. Need you very, very quick on the prop. So, Erik, have at it.
Yeah, Steven Matz under 5.5 strikeouts. That's just too high for me. He's hit the over 3 of his last 8 starts, 5 of his last 15 over the last 2 years. And his strikeout rate this year is actually slightly down from last year. So even though it was hot early, I think we could look at last year's numbers too. 5.5 is just not a number he normally reaches.
Garion, quick on the prop bet.
Yeah, I actually have the same prop. Matt's 33.3% strikeout rate against left-handed bats, just 20.8% against right-handed bats. The Yankees only have right-handed bats. He's not getting 5.5 strikeouts in this game.
Wayward son, talk to me.
I'm correlated. I'm going DJ LeMahieu, home run, plus 675. You guys, both of them alluded to Steven Matz struggles against righties. He's allowed 1 home run in 6 of 9 games, 6 of the 7 to righties. I'm swinging for the fences on the swing for the fences props.